and Shine, the podcast where prosperity meets personal growth. I'm Krista. I support moms with ADHD to help them work with their brains rather than against them.
And I'm Jessica. I'm your growth-minded guide who helps you align with the most inspired and intentional version of yourself in both life and business.
So in each episode, we'll dive into the mindset shifts, strategies, and business insights that fuel success, while also keeping alignment and well-being at the center. Whether you're an entrepreneur, a leader, or someone on a journey of self-discovery, this is your space to grow, thrive, and create a life by design.
In today's episode, we'll be expanding on how healing your inner child can change your relationship with money in adulthood. We have one simple request. If any part of this conversation resonates with you, please like and subscribe to our channel. This allows us to grow and continue to bring you awesome content.
All right, let's dive into this. Your bank account is often run by the youngest version of you. Let's say it one more time. Because this is...
I was going to say the same thing.
Yep.
One more time for the people in the back.
Your bank account is often run by the youngest version of you. So we really don't financially struggle because we're bad with money. We often struggle for different reasons. One being our inner child is still making adult money decisions. Mm-hmm. So every time that we save, we spend, we freeze, avoid, overspend, undercharge, or sabotage, it's actually that younger version of us trying to feel safe, loved, accepted, or in control. And, just thinking about I always thought I was bad with money. So when we started talking about this topic, I was like, wow, my mind was blown because it really makes sense.
Yeah. You think about billionaires and millionaires and what is the real difference than you? Is it they grew up with generational wealth. They gained a skill set that no one else can have or gain. Is it relationships they built, or is it something different? Is it something underlying that allowed them to maybe have a different relationship with money or value or exchanging currency?
Yeah. Who knows? Well, that's what we're going to dive into.
Yeah. Just explore it a little bit more.
Yeah.
So you can think about your identity is often the inner child. That's the origin of how you think about money and how you relate to money. So when you were younger, were there any instances that you had that you can first think back to regarding money, whether it's your parents or yourself or a family member, an experience, things like that?
Just in general, thinking about how my family dealt with money and how it was kind of viewed in the house. It wasn't something necessarily that we talked a lot about also, but just kind of money was something that for sure didn't grow on trees, right?
Yeah, taboo conversation.
Yeah,
almost.
Very much so. Yeah, you don't ask anybody how much they make. You really don't talk about it. Yeah, and it is interesting to think about how everybody grew up with different views about money. I think I always thought everybody was just like me, kind of.
Yeah, yeah,
but that's not true.
No. I think, some people were given money as a child, maybe being able to spend it more. Some people weren't. So there in of itself can create scarcity or maybe abundance. True. I'm always going to be taken care of because mom and dad have paved the way for me and paid for everything. Or grandparents or other family members.
Sure.
And also the lack of it too. I've heard parents in my field, I don't want to pay for anything. I don't want to pay for my kids' college or their, first house or whatever it is, things like that, because they might have grown up with that same ideal situation where they didn't pay for anything for themselves. So they feel like it's almost like a right to pass on the same style of living. But
yeah.
Is it necessarily helpful? I mean, taking it from one generation and passing it on to the next, you're just instilling those beliefs in the next generation. So,
yeah,
by you paying for your kids' college, for example, or part of it, might actually pave the way for them to be like, oh, okay, like I might want to do this for my kids in the future.
Right.
Versus like, I'm not paying anything because it was scarce for me, so therefore it's going to be scarce for you.
Exactly.
And kind of transferring that same mentality to the next generation. So,
and I love that we can talk about this focusing on the money aspect, but how it's, it's just generationally passed down, all these different beliefs. So I love that we're focusing on money because it is it can be that taboo topic.
Well, it's also it's involved with everything. You want to do any major thing in life, you're going to need some sort of money. I mean, you want to have kids, you need money. You want to have a house, you need money.
Yeah.
Renting, you need money. Like everything, education, things like that. So it's not that, and I think because there's such a pressure on it to perform for all of these things that maybe it's seen as like unattainable or hard to come by or things like that. Just naturally.
Yeah. And thinking about it from the inner child perspective is very eye-opening. So this also matters because we're going to talk about confidence currency. Confidence is built by reparenting. If our parents weren't confident, we learned those, again, beliefs from them. And in regards to money, it's that same idea. Yeah, I'm just thinking about it, from my perspective or my experience rather.
I forget which famous individual said it, but they were talking about showing in the most like beginning years of your life is the most important. You're going to be learning so much, and it's going to resonate at a subconscious level for you. And you're an infant to a toddler to 5-year-old kid, and you're taking in by demonstration and modeling what your parents are doing for you, or doing, for themselves, whatever it may be. And you're internalizing that to the nth degree. Like you are becoming your parent with those first initial 5 years. So I forget who it was, but they said, show me the kid from ages 0 to 7, and I'll show you the man. As if like you know that this is coming because of how they were modeled as a kid. And it makes sense. And that's why we can trace, trauma work back to our childhood and our inner child. So, it's a good thing for parents to look into as well, how you are modeling for your kid. Are you showing them abundance mindset, or are you showing them a lack mindset every day?
Yeah.
And you might not know if you are one way or another. You might not know at all, but I would encourage our listeners and viewers to think about, what the deep meaning is behind each and every one of their words and actions.
Yeah.
So
that's what we do. We get deep.
Yeah, we get real deep. So another concept that we can talk about with inner child is feminine energy, which we've touched on before, and how money is deeply connected to safety and receiving. And if you're not in the feminine energy, then you're not able to receive to the degree maybe that you want, or maybe at all. If you think about it, masculine energy is giving. Feminine energy is receiving. If you're giving, then how are you able to receive? It's like the law of duality, polarity. You can't be in two places at once. It's one or the other, and there's a strong pull one way or the other. But also safety. When you think about money, do you feel safe? Does it feel safe with you?
I don't want to answer that. No.
Does it feel safe with you? Do you feel safe with it? Or is it something, you are trying to get rid of very quickly because you might not have the capacity to hold it?
Yeah.
Or, is too much of money like coming in at once? Does that feel weird or not natural for you? If it does, then you're more likely to get rid of it quicker.
Yeah. You and I have talked about this topic about, giving and receiving money and how that looks like for, I guess just ourselves. Mm-hmm. And I remember you saying, like, if you have money, do you feel like you need to, like, get rid of it? Mm-hmm. And I had never, like, thought of it in that way. And I think it kind of, that was a small part of the inner child doing its thing in my life.
Yeah, you almost have to be, like, conscious of it, right? When you're spending something, is it because you don't feel safe keeping it?
Right.
Or it doesn't feel safe with you, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a huge link back to your childhood, like where maybe you had to earn the money by earning an allowance or something, and you feel like you have to earn it. Or, you only received on certain occasions type of thing. So that's when you think you're supposed to receive now in adulthood.
Yeah.
But yeah, it comes down to safety and how everything is related to safety, thinking about anxiety and different fears and things like that. If it feels safe in your body, then it's going to flow better.
Mm-hmm. And and sometimes it might be hard to differentiate that feeling. That feeling of safety is actually, an old feeling of
comfort.
Yes. Yes.
I agree. Yeah. And that's where the consciousness comes in, where you can set an intention for it.
Yes.
Right. Like, where is this money going? Where is it coming from?
Right.
And guiding it to where you want it to go and where you want it to come from.
Yeah. That's super important. So also along the same lines, we've talked about vibration and frequency, that inner child programs shape the frequency. So when you think about it, like in childhood, what did that look like for you?
For me, my parents, own a business, and their parents owned businesses, but it came from lack for sure. So the frequency around money was scarcity. And also like World War type of things earlier on. So the basics of that translated over multiple generations. And you can think about it like that maybe was the frequency that was held by those individuals, passing down from one family member to another. And because you were learning these behaviors and beliefs at such a early age, they've transpired in your life and you didn't even know it. And so, like, what I like to say is questioning myself is this belief mine, or is this belief someone else's? And if it's somebody else's, then I know that I should feel a sense of relief, right?
Yeah.
Because I know that there's no attachment to it. I can change it as I see fit. If it is mine, then I know I can do the same exact thing. But, it's something that I choose to believe. And there's a certain kind of power behind that as well.
For sure.
So I personally think that in my life, my ancestors might have been operating at a lower frequency when it came to money, and believe that their exchange for money had to come from putting in long, hard hours of work to sustain themselves.
Yeah. And then we tie that into our worth. Excuse me.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I think like coming from my dad being adopted, like he definitely has those traits of, worthiness. Coming from, obviously someone giving him up, whether it was by their own will or not, to coming into another family, like there's always that sense of I have to feel worthy enough to be a part of the family. Yeah. And I think unintentionally he had passed, that down to me and my siblings. And it's been an unlearning system for us to be like, yeah, that's not my role to say like, I'm not enough. I'm not worthy because I haven't put in 12 hours today at work.
Right.
Right. Like we can't logically relate those things anymore because it just doesn't make sense.
Right. And to your point about generationally, like, you know, you think of our grandparents or great grandparents coming from that Great Depression time era, you know, it makes sense that it was simply passed down, and we didn't necessarily have the tools or understanding, maybe not all of us, I shouldn't generalize, but to see that and to see how that was passed down. And honestly, as women, you know, we can go into that whole topic too, you know, stay small, stay little, you know, you really
blend in.
Yeah. And the male counterparts should be making more, right? That's just how it was, how it is. And so changing our mindset about that, changing our vibration and frequency, we can do that. We can do that now, you know. We don't have to stay stuck. And that's what this inner child work does, you know.
Yeah. And it's so important to like being able to align with the correct vibration and frequency of where, you know, whatever level of success and business, you know, whether that's monetary or not, is. And so you have to find a way to align yourself to that. Sometimes it's easier to do with like increments of money. Other times it looks like, you know, I've been a TEDx speaker. I've been, you know, I've had this many clients. I have, you know, there's other measurements too. Yeah. But oftentimes those things interchange at particular levels. Like we've talked about with the levels of communication.
The fun coaching question, you know, what does success look like to you? You know, I think we all immediately go to money. And if I make, you know, $1 million, but like, what does success actually look and feel like for you?
Yeah, it's very true. And another reason why your inner child connects in your adulthood with money is because of the quantum realm. So if your patterns are repetitive, then that's going to create your reality. So, you know, being the observer of, you know, a constant negative bank account or a constant positive bank account can often change your reality. But even if it's negative or positive, it's a feeling that comes behind it. And the emotion is really going to be what aligns you to those particular waves in the quantum realm. So
what she said.
Get in line.
Get in line.
Get in line.
Also the mirror principle. Money mirrors your emotional wounds. And man, does that like strike a chord? Because it really does. I mean, you know, think about this is just from personal experience, overwhelmed and stressed out. You know what? I'm just going to go on my phone, click, click, click. My friends and I talk about, now I can't think of the word, when you go shopping and it's like the therapy, retail therapy, you know?
Yeah.
So if you haven't dealt with those emotional wounds, it can come out in
like
many different forms.
Yeah. Yeah. And also there's some sort of like gratitude or maybe not gratitude is the best way to think about it, but gratification. Gratification from it.
Yes. Instant.
So
right?
Yeah. And then, you know, it validates your need for spending, or it reinforces your thoughts behind, you know, I never have enough money because, well, no blank, you're spending it, you know? So obviously you can't hold on to it if your beliefs say that you've never been enough or been able to hold enough.
Yeah.
So it just reinforces you. And then it's really like your ego that feels good. So if you can disconnect a little bit from your ego, then you'll see that you're only trying with these behaviors to please your ego.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not saying you shouldn't like your ego because it serves a purpose, but we shouldn't be serving it.
Yeah.
We should be serving ourselves because we're two separate things.
That's a really, really, really good point. You know, we are justifying our bad behavior there and staying in that unconscious space.
Yeah. Ego realm.
Yeah.
So, you know, going back to our inner child and subconscious work. It's really the blueprint for your relationship with money in adulthood, because like we said before, the first few years of life really develop that subconscious more and more and more, even in the womb. But, the first couple years, you're really out in the world, you're observing with your senses and your subconscious, and you're taking in it's like millions of bits of information per second that your body is taking in and storing as memory. And so if you think about it, the things that you were observing as a kid, you were hearing your parents say, money doesn't grow on trees, or like money's the root of all evil, that kind of thing, can really leave a mark, an imprint on your subconscious. And therefore, when you're an adult, you just automatically put these things out into the universe and you don't even know it.
Yeah. So we can't afford that. And then we, get a new car. So it's like, where does, I'm just like taking it all in, and it's, so what you hear is one thing, what you see is another thing in regards to money too.
Absolutely. It's the emotional root of your financial patterns.
Yes.
So
who is your inner money child? Let's talk about that for a minute. Your inner child holds your earliest beliefs about safety. You brought the word safety up before, and it's so spot on.
Just think about what it means to be safe, right? Like it means comfort. It means like a warm hug. I think about a roof over my head, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and that can also look different for everybody. So maybe that warm roof over somebody's head wasn't necessarily like the same as yours, right? With a loving family, and and so that's going to shift how the inner money child looks too. Do you want to talk about the next one?
How love was given or withheld. I think that's huge.
It is.
How you're able to receive that love from your parents or caretakers or siblings even, if you were given it at all. Like some people weren't.
Yeah.
So therefore, their receptiveness to all of their life, but in particular with this episode, money, could be inexistent or could be very slim. And so that's something that might have to be taught over time. Is just your ability to, receive, and maybe it's with a paycheck or something like that. Or maybe it shows up being inconsistent with your business, or just you keep, losing jobs or something like that.
Yeah.
Like it can show up in many different ways, but your ability to receive love is very similar to the way that your ability to receive money. And it's just, it's kind of like a different concept, but the same gist of it. So if you're open and willing to receive love, it feels very similar to open and receiving money.
Yeah. Again, got to sit with that too. Along those same lines, what you were praised or punished for. So just thinking about, how we look at money, what were you praised for? Were you praised for, we'll get into this later, but, being the good girl and doing what you were supposed to. And, were you punished for not listening and behaving, and how that relates to money? That's it's just so spot on. I don't know. I'm still absorbing this as we talk about it.
Yeah. I'm a big proponent for positive reinforcement. I think negative reinforcement you can learn on your own. Like it's going to happen to you with experiences, right? But positive reinforcement is going to make you that much better of a person. Negative reinforcement is just a consequence. Right. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I'm not a fan of consequences. they're going to happen in life, but I'm not trying to actively seek them.
Yeah.
Minus obviously there's failure is another topic, but when you're a kid, I'm thinking about specifically like, are you like the whole hitting your child thing? Like that's another topic, but is that going to help the child view that as a positive thing or give them a positive view on life? Probably not.
Right.
It's going to say like, oh, okay, I had to accept this at one point for negative behavior. And now I see that as okay to do to my children.
Right.
Versus not doing it maybe and just having that person just not even realize that it's a thing. Like,
yeah.
So
I was just having a talk about gentle parenting with a group of women, and everybody feels one way or another about all these different ways to parent, but it's interesting to think about that from a money perspective, as trying to gently parent. And I hear you, I acknowledge you, I validate your feelings. How is that? That's what I'm trying to do. Maybe not gentle parenting per se, but how is that going to shift my kids' relationship with money then in the future? It's just...
Yeah, if you keep saying or showing them that there's a negative consequence to it,
right,
then they're going to associate it with that negative thing, right? They're going to say money's hard to get and things like that. I don't know if you have another example, but...
Oh, I got many. No. In regards to parenting or money or...
Well, both. But I mean, it's similar to how money felt or feels now emotionally in your home.
Well, so, I mean, let's just dive right in here. My husband worked his way up in his career and it wasn't always easy. And now that has shifted. He's a partner at his firm. And so in our household, the money mindset frame that is all shifted, and it kind of happened fast. So I'm actually absorbing all of this and thinking about how it has affected our kids. Because from going from one, listen, we can't get this, we can't afford this, to yeah, sure, like we're okay, we're doing okay. I'm just interested to maybe even have that conversation with my kids, to acknowledge it. Really, I don't think we acknowledged it. We just moved, and this is how we're living now.
Now we live in this kind of realm. Right?
Yeah.
So they didn't most likely perceive all of the hard work and effort that went into it, and the money mindset that you and your husband had to adopt before you could even get into that house that you're in, and experience the things that you are experiencing right now in a higher degree of wealth.
Yeah. Yeah. And you and I have talked about it. I think I was there mentally.
Yeah.
And maybe he wasn't, but it goes back to that, like, what could we hold,
And I think that just gives you like a little bit of props for saying like, or acknowledging that you are the visionary out of the two that can make those things happen. Because he followed you with that vision. And although his career might have paved the way for it, he most likely would not have made that emotional jump in his financial career, like without your help and guidance.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'll make sure he listens to this episode. But also it is really true, because had you and I not talked about it, I don't know how aware I would have been before either. So it's been good to shed light onto the money aspect for both of us, and to watch, he kind of jumped, so.
Well, that just goes to show as well, like their timelines are not linear. Like you can jump from one to another quantum realm. Like you are able to do that. And you just said it happened so fast, but like when you ask for something and you're aligned with those actions, the change happens like instantly.
Yeah.
And it's so exciting to watch, and you're like, wow, now I'm living in this reality. It's so weird, right? But
it's also, it feels like right. It feels like that I don't even question it. It's just like, yeah, this is where we were supposed to be. Yeah.
And it's good though, because like you can look back at other parts of your life too, where you've done that similarly, but you might not have recognized it. And so now, you recognize that you have this power within you, that you're able to shift a timeline.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
yep.
Now it's just becomes a fun game of how can I shift, or what can I shift?
1,000%. And in regards to money too.
Yeah. In your business and things like that. So,
yeah. Where are we? Where were we?
First memories of abundance or lack that you might have had from your childhood. Like, what instance or common consensus did you have as a kid thinking about how you grew up? I know you mentioned like food you used to eat and how that is like forbidden now. Like you would never eat that.
I don't even think our listeners would understand what it is. Yeah, it was actually like, when I'm thinking about it now, it was very kind of contradictory. Maybe it was week by week, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. We struggled that week, so we would eat, the simplest meal.
More cost effective.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we'd get a new car, so it wasn't, there was this, maybe confusion is the right word behind it.
Yeah. Kind of like a bartering too, right? Like you're sacrificing one week, like, okay, if I eat this week or prepare this for my family, the next week we can get a car, like that type of thing. Whereas you really are teeter-tottering between the universe, like you saying, I want X, Y, or Z, but this is how I'm living. Whereas like if we can jump to aligning ourselves with that higher frequency of what it is that we want, it hopefully will feel more smooth and flow easier.
Yeah. And it is interesting to think about, like, as a child, you don't really have any awareness and understanding of being in control of that. So to your point, to be an adult and to take this time to reparent or shift our everything, it's like a game, but an exciting game.
Yeah. Reparent yourself and parent your kids with that knowledge. Like that has to be an exciting time, because it's a lot of like, I'm sure I'm not human mom, I'm a dog mom, but like telling them and showing them things that you wish that you knew. And like, that is so exciting.
I appreciate you said that, because I've had a couple instances recently of that feeling. I think a lot of parents, especially moms, like we just get overwhelmed with all this stuff, especially around the holidays. There's just so much stuff that we have to remember and do. But I have really been finding gratitude in the work that I've done and how I can give that to my kids and how I can, like, I think I've said this before. It's like a gift, how I can gift it to them.
Yeah.
And hope that they can just take it and just grow even further and more.
Yeah. Yeah, it's exciting. And then you don't have to worry about them like having to learn that later on in life. Like it's not necessarily a lesson, but maybe just modeling your way of something that you learned the hard way.
Yeah,
to them.
for sure.
Like, okay, well, this is how we're going to do it. I'm not even going to tell them that this is the easy way to do it, but I'm just going to show them that this is better than doing it that way.
Right. Right.
But yeah, specific but a memory for me is like knowing that my grandparents grew up in I think it was First World War. And having to eat like staples, like greens and beans, very, very Italian family. That is a literal exact same thing as the greens and beans we eat today as the side dish or sometimes the main meal. And it feels like tradition. It feels like not luxury, but like there's some meaning behind it, sentimental feeling. And how it's literally nothing different than it was for them, but for them, they needed it to survive.
Yeah.
And so there's kind of like that flip in the script of where now it's like, oh, it's a side dish. And, our meals have greatly changed since then. We're not fighting to stay alive with the food that we're putting in our bodies, but it's more of like an add-on, and we're all having a good time eating and stuff like that. So,
and hearing you say that, what we're talking about isn't to like bash or look down upon, our grandparents, from where they came, because they
brought us here.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's acknowledgement and awareness and understanding of, even our parents. I mean, sometimes it's easy to say, oh, wow, how did they not know that? Or how did they do that? But
they didn't have the tools that I know of that could help them become aware of these things.
Right.
And, you just think about like propaganda and things that they had to deal with. And like, there's still plenty of that, with media and things today, but they had no other way of believing that it wasn't true.
True.
And now we have people out there that are telling us there's another way to think.
Yeah.
And we're exploring that.
Yes.
And I think that has created avenues for us to really make change for ourselves.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's exciting. And that's why we start a podcast about all this wonderful stuff.
Absolutely. So the last topic we'll talk about today is which version of you runs your money patterns. Is it the good girl who is afraid to disappoint and maybe undercharges her services? Or is it the helper, gives away too much and can't receive? The overachiever who ties worth to productivity? The invisible one who hides, avoids, or freezes? The rebel, overspends or self-sabotages choices? Or the responsible child who carries everybody's burdens?
And when you and I talked before, I said, we can be numerous ones, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because I was checking that one. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few that have shown up for me in my life. And I think back to, my school age days where I didn't want to disappoint anyone, right? I want to be liked. I want to be seen, heard, all of those things. And that did show up for me a bit in adulthood. And so, I kind of recognized that. I'm like, I don't have to be, the teacher's pet to everybody in my life. I can be my individual self, and that's going to give me just more satisfaction overall.
Yeah.
The giving away too much, I probably still do a lot of that. But in a sense where, I am still able to receive.
Right.
So.
And you can see that now, and you understand that. So, to your point, it's still going to kind of come ebb and flow.
Yeah.
But,
it has to. I mean, thinking about like even in business, you're in your masculine energy, you're in your feminine energy, like it has to. That's the law. Like it's going to come based off of your ability to receive it. And another big one for me was the overachiever. Like I just felt like my worth was tied to my accomplishments and how productive I was. And that's been a slow unlearning process for me. I don't know about for you, but
all of it. No.
Well, even being at home, like a stay-at-home mom, right?
True.
Like,
yeah.
You might not be bringing in, the physical dollars, but you're still helping the family in an emotional way. And that in and of itself, you're worthy just by being you. But, there's a sense of production and accomplishment from doing those things that isn't tied to money.
Right. That's a really good point.
And sometimes it's hard to see and validate yourself for that, though.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that outside of work often.
Like, in other things that you do?
Yeah. Well, just being, because my income is tied to me being active in my business.
Yeah.
If I'm not active in my business, how hard, is it for me to take myself off of that thinking and that even just subconscious feeling during the day? Like it can be hard to switch off.
For sure.
Because I know that at the end of the day, my income is tied to that. Right. So it's a little bit different, being in a position I am. But at the same time, I've learned that finding a balance earlier on is going to be better for me in the long run.
Yeah.
So at first I didn't, and I'm trying to like unlearn that, but implement different strategies for myself.
Yeah. Super powerful. And, not get down on yourself when you forget to send your kids to Spirit Day dressed up. We laugh, but it's true.
Yeah.
No.
Can't remember everything too.
No. Yeah. So if you enjoyed this episode, like and subscribe to our channel for more content to help you level up. And remember, your journey to empowered abundance continues on the next episode. Thanks for listening to Vibe and Shine Podcast. Keep shining bright.
Keep shining bright.